When does strength become debilitating? That's what we're about to find out. I've been thinking a lot about strength the past few days. I've met with a number of people who are going through very trying, difficult times in their lives, and I'm amazed at the strength that we're all able to summon when we really need it. Very often, things that we never expect to be able to find within ourselves, gifts and blessings from God that we never thought we would have, are right there when we most desperately need them. But then I looked at this week's Parsha, to the Torah portion of Bo, and I saw a completely different side of strength. We're in the end of the plagues now, the last of the plagues, and we already know now that Pharaoh's heart keeps getting hardened and hardened. In the beginning, Pharaoh is doing it to himself. Toward the end of the story, God is doing it. And in fact, in the beginning of the Parsha, it starts out, Hichbadati et libo. God says, I've made Pharaoh's heart heavy. But then, after that plague, after the 8th plague, when Pharaoh says, I'm sorry, I messed up, I made a mistake, then the Torah says, Vayichazek Hashem et lev paro. That I've strengthened, I've made chazak. The same word that we say when we finish the Torah, a book of the Torah, we lift it up, we say chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. God says, I have strengthened Pharaoh's heart. What a horrible association with strength. That Pharaoh, who could not give in, who could not let go, who had to be in total control, that his heart was strong. That can't be the same strength that I've witnessed in the people that I've seen in the past few days and that so many of us have witnessed throughout our lives. They can't be the same strength. It seems that what may have happened to Pharaoh is that because he was so stubborn to begin with, because he told himself so often that he was in charge, that he could control everything, that he was right, that hardening that he was doing to himself eventually brought him to a place where he had no other choice. And so it was as if God was hardening his heart. He couldn't even get out of it. He had closed himself up into a box of falsehoods and lies and hardening of one's heart. And because he could no longer even get out, because he was even beyond shuvah, he was beyond repentance, then the Torah says that God was hardening his heart. But strengthening his heart, is that the same thing? Well, maybe it is. Because I've also witnessed many times when sometimes we are so protective of ourselves, we are so strong, we put on such a facade, everything's okay, I'll be okay, when we don't allow ourselves to be weak, when we don't allow ourselves to be human, then I wonder if that is not the same kind of strength or strengthening that Pharaoh's experiencing. Pharaoh has lost his humanity. He's lost the capacity to be compassionate over his own people, his own family, and for himself perhaps. And there are times when we face difficult challenges that we also, I think, lose some of our own capacity to be human, to be frail, to be fragile, to need. Some of us, and I'll be the first to include myself in this group, are so in charge of our own lives, are so power hungry, type A, whatever you want to call it, that it is precisely at the moments that seem most difficult that we rise up and we find that strength, and we're proud to show it off, and other people see it in us, and that gives us even more strength. But I think what I've been discovering in reading this week's Parsha is that sometimes too much strength is not good enough. Sometimes we need to be able to be strong and be weak. Sometimes we need to celebrate our strengths and admit and even celebrate our weaknesses. Sometimes we need to be here to protect, to help, to support others. And sometimes we need to allow others to help, protect, and support us. How are you strong? And has your strength enriched your life? Has it brought people closer? Has it pushed people away? Until next time, chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. May we all find the strength and acknowledge the weaknesses that we all already have.
It'll be a miracle when there's peace in the land, when every sword and gun simply drops from our hands. It may be too